Hey everybody, this is Chad Warren from the Adventurer channel, and you see my Facebook at chad.warren1, facebook.com/chad.warren1. What am I talking about here today on Facebook? I'm talking about thanks, William Bridges, for sharing the awesome chili you made. I hope you find a way to make food for friends in a weekly meal prep business if you want. Look at that. Looks maybe weird, but it tastes really good. Here's Lake Mamel. Here's the chili. Here I am. And then we have what is my. Oh no, how do we get back to it? How do we get to it? It is the Adventurer channel on YouTube. What am I talking about over there? Yesterday, got to ride in a Tesla for the first time. It was awesome. I was helping Casey from Enter the Stars do some testing to see if people were able to view a video and comment and see likes, because there is definitely censoring that's going on these social networks, mainly for alt-right points of view. And that was cool that he did a live test. And in general, I'm seeing a lot of better cooperating with different video YouTube creators and their audience. And this was a perfect example to where some people were like, "Yeah, I can't watch these videos. They got me. They blocked me." Oh! And I've been kicked off of Facebook and had strikes on YouTube. All kinds of people have. So it's a real thing. But at the same time, it's like, I'm Mr. Conspiracy. I don't see any problem. I can watch all these people commented and saw it. So that was awesome. Let's get into reality here. All right. Contact your representative and tell them that you like free speech and you don't like the government saying you can't use your free speech to critique the government of Israel for its war crimes. And if you love Flat Earth, or you hate it, or you want to see a funny video, or you like country music, check out Funny Flat Earth Music, plaintruth.info. And then I'm over here at theadventurerchannel.com/blog. Hadn't been there in a while myself. What's the connection between Freemasonry and Judaism? There was a show on Netflix trying to gain some members. I think they're losing quite a few members as the internet is revealing what a scam this this is. Let me say this. I can see both sides to any issue. I'm sure there's all kinds of good people in the Masons. My grandfather was a Mason. I think both of them were on my mother and father's side. But any that's what good and evil is. The evil, most importantly, is a whole bunch of people going, "Let me talk about what's good, and look at me, and let's pretend we're really doing anything about it." But we're not, but we're talking about it, and we intend to do something about it. So I know that all these people join the Masons to become better men, and I don't know how many of them are looking to find Lucifer there in the 33rd degree, which I hear you do. As far as I understand, that's what your gang is about there. I believe that is also within certain views of Judaism, that God and the devil are like the same person, which I certainly, see it like that. God kind of chews us up and spits us out, puts us in this world that is just totally, this is a Gnostic point of view, but obviously, the positivity that I see in life comes from how crappy life is. It's like a beautiful ruined thing, you know what I mean? And so the love is because things are tough all over, so like it's a miracle to help out a homeless person, or you know what I mean? Okay, so to the issue at hand. I'm just a little frustrated because it's like 3 times I've tried to do this video and I've had technical issues. Let's focus on the question of volunteerism. Do y'all remember Obama announcing that there was going to be this revolutionary volunteer force, and he was speaking to the millennials, all these young people, all kinds of people going to save the world with volunteerism. And it's funny. We think of volunteers today. It's like organized with a political campaign or whatever. But isn't it like the Tennessee Vols is the football team, and isn't that what a group of soldiers were called? Was it in the Civil War? Yeah, right. Okay, so that's a militia. So that's what I want to connect here. Don't be hateful on guns. Don't be hateful on free speech. Don't be hateful on individuals that are organizing. See what I'm saying? This left and right stuff is stupid. If you're a militia, which we don't have, because that got handed over to the National Guard, you know what I mean? Which is federalized and it's not really of the states and all that jazz. But yeah, we need to have a militia, not just with guns, but like with education and picking up trash, whatever, man. This is funny how I really do see two sides to everything. The scam is that we're perpetually kept in a state of war, which is discussed in the book 1984 by George Orwell. But in the Bible, it says we fight not against men. It's a spiritual fight, right? So I'm just in this day and age where everybody's trying to take away every bit of ability for anybody to defend themselves. Oh, did you call that tranny a he or a she? Put that racist, evil person in the gulag. So I'm just talking about the positive value of fighting as part of peace. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a different point of view, but okay. So this article here is showing that, well, this is okay. It's Real Clear Politics is the website, which is republishing an article from Salon Magazine, which is a progressive, liberal online news outlet, and the headline is Obama disconnected from his grassroots base. This is back in 2010, 8 years ago. So that means if we look at Trump today, that is, how far are we in? What are we, like 2 years into his term or something? So that's interesting. At a similar point here, it took them about that long to figure out it was a scam. And okay, so what happens is, what was the result of that campaign, that volunteer campaign? His campaign success in both the primary fight against Hillary Clinton and the general election against John McCain was powered by an unprecedented wave of mass participation. The numbers were staggering. 13 million email addresses were collected. That's 20% of his total vote. Okay, let me pause you there. I've fiddled around with like online marketing, and I understandably, we don't like to be bothered by telemarketers, and there's all kinds of bad behaviors are marketed to us. Disney, Katy Perry, genetically modified organisms. So I got all kinds of problems with business as well as government. But that's the same skill set. Hi, I'd like to interest you in taking part in helping Obama get elected for president. Hi, I'd like you to work from home if you'd like to, and here's a transcription job you can check out. It's the same tool. So that's dumb that there's this political division between business and government. That's stupid. So here's our benchmark. If we were to organize and try to represent the people in a bipartisan way outside of the established order, which is what I suggest, I would definitely like to, meet all these people within the political system and within just normal reality And if there's ways we can cooperate, that's important. We need to do that. And on the other hand, no, just create our own alternative everything. We got our own money. We got our own computers. We're not paying you taxes because you're scamming and send it all off to screw us over and blah, blah, blah. There's all these big expectations for Obama to use these people that had got him, that had elected him to help with all these issues. But that didn't happen. Well, those heady days of hope, change, and activism are long gone. The useful myth of Obama's grassroots philosophy collided with the reality of his embrace of Wall Street and the political establishment. There you go. It did the same thing happen with Trump? Yes, it did. He is definitely beholden to Wall Street and Zionism, and he's got all these Goldman Sachs Zionist bankers are all up in his business, his cabinet, and then I guess somebody could try to argue, oh, well, he's got to speak to that group. He's really in the secret, the government coup, or the good guys have got him there, and all this silly stuff. So, like, there's a specific example here. The experience of one such activist, Marta Every of Venice, California, is illustrative of OFA's stunted trajectory, organizing for America. She is a 45-year-old film editor, or more than that now, right? She's older. She works in television shows and movies in Hollywood. Sounds cool. Alright. She tried to work within the limited parameters set by OFA's national and state staff, but steadily chafed at being given limited and often meaningless tasks. In August, she was emailing the people on the We Are Change list along her Friends in Venice for Change, a local Obama spinoff, to turn out at local congressional town hall meetings on healthcare and do battle with the Tea Party crowd. It's too constrained by insider politics. That is calling into districts of lawmakers who were already on board with the health care reform bill just to list bill, just to find who was in support of the bill and get more people for it when you don't need them. So we need to find all the people that got screwed over, all the veterans that are like, what a scam. You know what I mean? That's our people. The people that know that this is all bull hockey. So that right there is uncomfortable. There is just a natural tension because you have these other people that like the way things are. They want to go to Disneyland. They want to go to Vegas. They want to watch TV and do drugs and eat junk food. So whether you like it or not, if you don't want to do those things, that person, you're working against each other, and you're gonna have to deal with that. You can be as peace loving as you want, but that's basically what I see, is that we just have not accepted the responsibilities of all this. And I'm sorry, but there's going to have to be a carrot and stick approach. I'm going to have to make you uncomfortable as much as I'm going to have to offer olive branches and ways we can cooperate. But I'm not going to let my son grow up and have a father that doesn't know these skills. And that's the way everything should be anyway. You should learn it all yourself, which is more and more possible with technology, to educate yourself and just go. If you want to be self-sustainable for the environment, don't depend on somebody else running everything. If you want computers to work, learn about computers. If you don't want them to take over. All right, now I want to demonstrate something that I learned. I lived in Seattle, 99 through 2001. There was a World Trade Organization protest. It's later known as the Battle of Seattle, because the riot police were mustered, and they tried to kick everyone and said you can't be downtown, which actually made the problem worse, because then it's like, well, where do I go? You know what I mean? And even when we went into our apartment, you couldn't stay in there because tear gas was wafting in, and we had to go outside. So it was considered a poorly managed situation. And now they do the opposite. They don't push people out of the downtown core. They surround them and kettle them in. And like, you can't leave, you can't eat, you're just stuck there. And my point is that I learned that mobilizing, getting a whole bunch of people to do a protest doesn't help. It doesn't change anything. But what I noticed too is that even if that was an example, and then later there I got involved with the Occupy group. I went down there and camped and talked with people and tried to organize, but they had leaders. Supposedly it was not supposed to have leaders, but they did have leaders that were sent off and trained in like Madison Avenue by advertising PR firms how to, trick people, pretend to be their friends, and run things. And where at any time somebody tried to get an action like, hey, let's focus on ending the Federal Reserve and go protest about that, or whatever, they wouldn't allow any action to happen. The group leader, there were group leaders, and they wouldn't allow anything to happen. And they used something called the Delphi technique, which is where you get a whole bunch of people, then you have a few people that are all wink wink, on this little secret group steering things, and they give the illusion that they'll allow somebody to say something, but as soon as you say something that these leaders don't like, you get the mic yanked from you, that kind of jazz. And then they do have a plan all along hidden, so they're just mocking you. And then of course, you have, that was for the left, Occupy, and then you have InfoWars, which both of these are controlled opposition groups. These international Zionist, Masonic, hidden secret societies. They spend money supporting both sides of an issue so they can steer it towards the direction they want. Okay? So both of those groups are scams, but when you go out and get involved in these things, you will find people that are worthwhile people like yourself that do want to do good. So they're good for that purpose. Just as a spy can infiltrate a group, an honest person can go into a group and find friends. Okay, so here's the group of friends that I want to find. Right? Let's pull this video back up. I just was trying to learn about community organizing. And this is evidently a channel for a Mr. Aaron Shine. And I noticed in watching the video, one of the people seated in the audience has on a yarmulke, which is a hat that Jewish people wear sometimes. And I have actually learned, just as a point of fact that's interesting, is that is not a Jewish tradition. That's a Roman tradition. The government made those people wear that because they're like, we will let you, just see, that's the same, Rome and America, same thing. We'll let you practice your religion, but you got to pay us taxes, and you got to wear this little yarmulke. So then those people, in turn, when the Christians tried to do their thing, they tried to shut them down and rule over them. So we're all in this together, and I'm just sharing my point of view, that as much as I am against Zionism, I understand that Christianity and America's values are entirely shaped by Judaism / Zionism / Freemasonry. So I respect a lot of that, and you keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer, and how do you in your personal life, how do you know who to trust anyway, whether you're trying to get organized politically or not? And that's, of course, message, you cannot not be involved in politics. It's just not an option. Everything you do is something that somebody likes or doesn't like, and you got to deal with that. Okay. So, in general, my point of view is that the Jewish people kind of represent the best and worst of humanity. They are the smartest people on average, and know how to work in small groups through adversity. And I want to learn those techniques and use them for good. So if you are Jewish and you would like to cooperate with me and me with you, please comment. Because what's funny is that a lot of the information I get to critique what goes on with the state of Israel, and this is like Brendan O'Connell will say, most of his information comes from Jewish people, whether it's individually or whether it's in the Jewish press. And I certainly could understand the feeling that most people are so stupid that they don't deserve to be respected as humans. That's a scary thing to say, but I mean, if you got a bunch of unconscious people, they're not human. That's a fact. So we all agree with a lot of this stuff. You know, it's like a crazy world. I mean, like I'm fighting against the belief that there is an active eugenics program to depopulate the earth using the environment as the cause now instead of war. And yet at the same time, man, why wouldn't the world be better if 90% of the people were not here? So I'm just trying to say I'm very good about being honest and open and seeing both points of view. And that is, I think, you know, a technique you understood very well within the Jewish community. Let's hear it described.
There are a number of basic sort of methods that we use to improve the world in some ways. One is obviously service. I call service any time when someone who's unhappy, they don't have something, maybe they're hungry, and someone else gives him something, gives him, typical thing you often say, you give someone a fish, and they'll eat for a day. That's sort of a problem. If someone's hungry or doesn't have a home, service is one method to fix this. Is this effective? What's the assumption about its effectiveness?
It's going to help.
It helps one person at a time.
It helps one, okay. Okay. And what does it say about the effectiveness of that?
It doesn't change the underlying problem.
Okay. Advocacy. And that is often when you have the same hungry person or whatever, someone does something to speak on their behalf. And they also, and this is the advocate. And they're, pretty competent, they know how to speak. To whom do they advocate? Who does so they have someone who's probably well-educated, professional, speaks on the poor child's behalf to whom?
Well, they advocate with the government.
And what's an assumption embedded in advocacy as a theory?
There's who you're speaking for may not have an effective voice.
Right. That they can't effectively speak for themselves. Now, is that true? Not always. But it's important, what I want to get across is when someone does this, are they asking, can someone speak for themselves? Sometimes they don't even bother to ask, they just go right, because there's different ways you could do it. You could get the child, you could teach the child or someone else. I mean, I have a 9-year-old, she can speak for herself pretty effectively. A pretty frequent thing we see in the world is what we call mobilizing, where when there's a problem, could be breast cancer, something like you mentioned, there's a march or a walk. There's a lot of people just walking in the street, or sometimes they hold signs that say, cure breast cancer or whatever they do. Can you think of examples of that kind of, this strategy or method, mobilizing? A march, okay. What was the assumption behind the March on Washington? About
1,000 people showed up, the government would change its stance. 100,000 people showed up, the government would change its stance.
That's the assumption. Is it a realistic, an effective strategy?
You watch the news? Darfur still happening?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work.
The other, I think, frequent thing we see when
That's why I'm showing you this video, because that sounds like real folk I want to hang out with. Of like, no, it's a bunch of bull hockey. Even if I want to do it, it's not helping to go protest. Just like it's not helping to think the Lord Emperor Trump is going to save us like a God King. What is your example or feelings about community organizing? I personally have fantasies about developing a group kind of modeled after the Boy and Girl Scouts, but for everybody, where adults, children, everybody learn all these kind of skills so that we create a sustainable culture, as opposed to living around a bunch of people that we don't know and don't like and don't do anything together. I mean, it's pretty retarded. Everybody's getting retarded, losing everything that we used to have, like knowing how to dance. I mean, I didn't see it actually. I heard somebody was looking, they were showing a video where a principal of a school in China was showing the kids how to dance. Get off of those phones, get up and dance. That's the good and the bad of where we're at today, is we're so sick as a human species that you could just focus on dancing and set the world on fire. Take dancing away from the TV show Dancing with the Stars. Use that energy that show creates to go generate, get people dancing where you're at. You see what I'm saying? I guess because I'm an only child and you've been described as hyper individualistic, I'm like, you have to do it. And that these other people don't want to be an individual because they don't want to be responsible. Oh, you mean I personally have to do something? I can't just complain and talk about what the news said today? So I'm trying to figure out how to organize all these YouTube truth seeker people like myself. What do you folks think about how we can become more locally effective? I need to do what Brendan O'Connell's saying, because it's what I've always wanted to do, because I miss as a kid. I remember hanging out with punk rock music, and they had zines and they had flyers, and that was cool. Even if I didn't like a lot of the music, I liked that the people were organizing their own community. If you can't beat them, join them. You know, learn what these Jewish people are doing. They live all around the world. They hold on to this Ark of the Covenant, this idea that they are this people, okay? That they're chosen by God, and it has done all that it has done. So we need to learn how to do that, because you've got gangs and groups of people that are bullying the rest of us around. Thank you very much. Love ya.